Hi folks, it's Karen Lohoff. Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, don't you? You just decide you're going to do something, and despite all the things that you feel maybe you don't want to do it, you're going to do it anyway. So that's what we're doing. We're doing tonight. And interestingly, I wanted to talk a little bit about resistance. You know, sometimes I really do feel pretty exceptional. I feel like I'm the only person in the world that experiences something. But if I were the only person in the world that had any resistance, then nobody else would talk about it, right? In fact, I learned today that Jose Silva, you may recognize who he is, uh, thought a long time ago, I wonder if the human brain has resistance, and if so, how you can cut down on that, how you can cut back on that. And that just kind of changed the whole course of his life and what he has accomplished with his life, what he did accomplish with his life. And there you go. I'm not the only person with resistance. I found, though, something that my brother-in-law had put on Facebook, my Facebook, well, his Facebook, a while back, and I just really enjoy it because sometimes I wonder what resistance is. I mean, to me, my experience of resistance is digging in my heels. It's like someone on the school ground, this obviously goes back a ways, pulling me, trying to get me to go somewhere, and me deciding the best way to handle that was to just dig in my heels, make it just about impossible for them to get me to go anywhere. But sometimes it's just a little bit more simple than that. It's as simple today maybe as something's up. You think in your head, you think in your mind, you think in your feelings. There's something up. And what that's really suggesting is that you look ahead. Your resistance is when you don't want to look ahead. Sometimes you feel like, I got through that, so what's next? And you get complacent. I'll bet very few of you have a SIM card in your phone, or have a phone that has a SIM card in it anymore. And I have this really teensy-tiny phone. For my eyes, it's really, really, really difficult to see the screen. The screen's maybe an inch by an inch, not even quite. And my son picked up an old Motorola Razr phone. I don't know if you remember those, but at least the screen is considerably larger, about twice as large. And he was charging that up for me, and looks like we're going to have to get a new battery. And so he took the SIM card back out of it, which he had taken from my phone, and handed me the SIM card, and I had to try and figure out how to get the back of the phone off. For those of you who still have your youth and your strength, enjoy that that's a simple matter for you, and you can do that. I had quite the fit with myself, a little hissy fit, because I couldn't get the back off the phone, and I wanted to have my SIM card in my phone because there's a conference call that I missed earlier today, and I wanted to listen to it. So I realized how complacent I've become about trying to deal with these little um, things that become quite the challenge sometimes. So here's another thought that comes to mind. I'm able to do this, and you don't want to adjust. You're not willing to adjust. You're just going to go ahead and do it the way that you used to do. That's resistance. Um, Another thing is to not name it. You know that you need to know what something is, but you don't want to name it anything. Now, I do believe that we probably are used to not having to name things. I think it's probably our nature to not have to name things. But most of us, especially in the info age, the technological age, need to name things to be able to do them. So we have to be willing, we have to overcome that resistance. Then you think, what do I need to do? Ah, that's better than sitting in your place and not planning. You know, planning really doesn't take that long. It doesn't have to be that big a deal. A lot of us kind of get addicted to the idea that our plans have to be, you know, really multi-paged and diagrammed and so forth. When really, if we just sit down for a couple of minutes and we write down one or two things, a lot of times that's all we need for a plan. But it can be the key to actually getting something done or not. Another area of resistance is to not begin. And sometimes all we need to do is to formulate a little mantra, like, I will do this. Just remind ourselves what it is. This is why some of my videos have to do with Napoleon Hill's uh, self-confidence formula and the chief definite aim, is because that's the first time in really quite a long time that I have taken the time to write down, to fill out blanks, to really consider, is this what I want, and change things that I decided I didn't want, and have them be different, and have something that I'm reading to myself every day, morning and night. Um, it takes beginning. And just a good a good sentence here regards to how you relate to resistance. Your ability to change any aspect of your life in a substantive way will depend on how you relate to resistance. Think about that for just a minute. If you are unwilling to change your life, and I'm sure that if this doesn't apply to you at all, there's probably a sibling, there's probably a friend, maybe a neighbor, somebody who absolutely, clearly is unwilling to change. And that is a huge amount of resistance. just to remark on how powerful resistance is. Um, Resistance is going to be a part of our lives. Resistance is part of us as humans, and to the extent that we are resistant, we, especially if we do that unconsciously, if we're unaware of it, if we don't pay attention to it, if we don't attempt to change it, if we don't consider what that has to do with our lives, then what we are creating is a homeostasis in our lives. And I wanted to mention that because I know for myself, um, there's a lot of that in my life. There's a lot of areas where it's almost like, I apologize for how terrible this sounds, there's almost like a stinking cesspool. The, the things that I don't want to do, I don't want to look at, I don't want to change, I don't want to begin, I don't want to, move past that resistance. Our minds are happy to go along with that. Our subconscious mind is delighted to go ahead and leave things the way they are. For our subconscious mind, that seems like a plan well laid. But like any other plans, we know sometimes we simply have to change that our best laid plans from yesterday, I was going to say yesteryear, are harmful to us. Now, it is normal to have resistance. So any effective process or program must have a designed or a designated protocol for honoring and moving through resistance. If you have felt stuck in your life for a while, if you have felt like, I don't get why I'm not moving on, I don't know what more I need to do so that I can leave this past behind me, maybe you don't have a designated protocol to move through resistance. And by the way, some of these last ideas came from Freeman Michaels, and I believe, yeah, the little, I have to say, I really enjoy this little photo of the little people who don't want to change, who want to resist, and the little boxes where you recognize what it is, and then you realize what you need to do to change. I hope this has been helpful to you. I know that I really don't have anything else to give but who I am. I know that that's definitely a work in progress, and it's not at its height by any means, but I hope to give you value each time that I do one of these videos. Thank you.